Hello guys, so in our previous video we discussed Biot-Savart's law to find the magnetic field due to a current carrying conductor, in which we discussed the case of straight current carrying wire and the case of circular loop. So today we are going to find the magnetic field on the axis of a current carrying loop. So for that we took a current carrying loop of radius A carrying a steady current I, and this loop is basically perpendicular to the plane, and we have to find the magnetic field at point P, which is at a distance r from the center of the loop. So for that we have to take a current element. So we assume a current element dl having the direction of current which is outward, so the displacement vector is also outward. Let the distance of this current carrying loop from the point P is x. Then according to Biot-Savart's law, the magnetic field due to this element is mu naught by 4 pi I dl sine theta by x square. Then again this displacement vector dl and x are perpendicular. Then the small magnetic field due to the element is mu naught by 4 pi I dl by x square. So if we talk about the direction of magnetic field, the magnetic field is always perpendicular to the current element and it is always perpendicular to the displacement vector. So the magnetic field due to this element acting perpendicular to the displacement vector x. And if we let an angle phi which is formed between the displacement vector x and the position of point P r, then this magnetic field can be resolved into two components as respect to the angle, that is dB cos phi and dB sin phi. Now as we know, in a circular loop there is always a diametrically opposite point for each and every point. Then if this current element have another current element in its opposite orientation which have the same distance x from the point P, then due to this another symmetrically opposite current element, P point suffer same magnetic field dB, which can also be resolved as compared to the above magnetic field, and that is also provide two component, that is dB cos phi and dB sin phi. So if you observe that the cos component of the magnetic field of each current element is cancelled out by the symmetrically opposite other current element, and only the sine component of magnetic field is just participated in a total magnetic field. Then the total magnetic field at point B is just the integration of small magnetic field with its sine component, because the cos component of each magnetic field is cancelled out. Then by putting the value of small magnetic field, which is mu naught I dl by 4 pi x square, and then the value of sine upon hypotenuse, that is a by x. Now B is equal to integration mu naught I a upon 4 pi x cube dl. So this is the integration of current element whose total minimum length is 0 and maximum length is 2 pi a. So the magnetic field on the axis is equal to mu naught I a upon 4 pi x cube integration dl from 0 to 2 pi a. then magnetic field is equal to mu naught Ia by 4 pi x cube L limit 0 to 2 pi a. So by putting the value of limits 2 pi a minus 0 and the assumed distance x in form of a and r, so the hypotenuse square is equal to perpendicular square plus base square. So x is equal to under root a square plus r square. So by putting the limit and the value of x, we get b is equal to mu naught I a 2 pi a upon 4 pi r square plus a square whole power 3 by 2. By simplifying it, we get b is equal to mu naught I a square by 2 r square plus a square whole power 3 by 2. So this is the magnetic field on any point lies on the axis of a current carrying circular loop. If we want to verify this given formula, so we can assume the point P lies at the center. In that case, the position vector r becomes 0. So when r is 0, this is a cube, so a square is cancelled out and we get b is equal to mu naught I by 2a, which is the magnetic field at the center of a current carrying loop, and we discussed in two different cases in the previous video. Now let's take some example to illustrate the application of Biot-Savart's law. So we have two different structure in which a steady current I is flowing. Then we have to find the magnetic field at the center of these structures. So to apply Biot-Savart's law, we have to break down all the structure in small segments, and each segment are break from the joint of those structures. Like in this structure, if we assume there are three different structures, then we can find magnetic field at C due to first, second and third structure independently, and these magnetic field can be added by using principle of superposition. So the net magnetic field at point C is the sum of magnetic field produced by first, second and third element. So as we know, the magnetic field on the axis of a current carrying wire is always 0. So B1 and B3 is 0. Then we focus on the second segment, which is a semicircle, and the semicircle have the magnetic field at its center is mu naught I by 4a. So if we put the value of these three magnetic field, we get the total magnetic field at point C is mu naught I by 4a, which is due to the semicircular part. Similarly, in second case, if we want to find the magnetic field at point C, we assume these are four straight current carrying wires having current I, and we have to find the magnetic field at point C due to each segment, and then we can add these magnetic field to find the total magnetic field. So if this distance is a, then the remaining distance a by 2. So as we know, the formula of magnetic field due to a straight wire is mu naught I by 4 pi r sin phi 1 plus sin phi 2. So the value of phi 1 and phi 2 in that case is 45 degree. Then the value of position is a by 2. So by putting these value, we can find the magnetic field due to this segment of the square at point C. And as we know, all the magnetic field have their respective direction, which we obtain by right hand thumb rule. So if the current is moving downward, then the magnetic field is coming outward. Then similarly for the second part, current is moving that side, so magnetic field is outward. So each segment having the outward direction of magnetic field, so the total magnetic field is just the 4 times of magnetic field of each segment. So by using principle of superposition and Biot-Savart's law, we can find the magnetic field in any shape of conductor. Let's take some more example to illustrate Biot-Savart's law. In first example, in this shape, if we want to find the magnetic field at the center of this loop, we can assume this loop as a complete circle and the remaining part as a long straight wire. Then the magnetic field is again the sum of these two magnetic field. So the magnetic field due to circle is mu naught I by 2a. Then magnetic field due to the infinitely long wire at center C is mu naught I by 2 pi a. Now if we focused on the direction of magnetic field, then the magnetic field due to straight wire is in outward direction and the magnetic field due to the circular wire is in inward direction. So we have to subtract these magnetic field to get the final magnetic field, which we get mu naught I by 2a 1 minus 1 by pi. So we can check the direction to find the exact magnetic field at the center. In the second example, we have to find the magnetic field at point C. Then we can break this structure in 3 parts, where 2 semi-infinite wires and 1 semicircle. So again the total magnetic field is due to the superposition principle applied on these 3 magnetic field, first, second and third. Then due to the semi-infinite wire, magnetic field is mu naught I by 4 pi a. Similarly, the magnetic field due to the third segment, which is again a semi-infinite wire, that is 4 pi a. But the magnetic field due to second wire, that is a semicircular loop, is mu naught I by 4a. So if we talk about the direction of magnetic field, the current is moving in that side, so magnetic field due to first is outward. Now we are applying the thumb rule on the third part, so magnetic field is again outward. And if we apply the direction of current and the thumb again pointed outward, so these 3 magnetic field are pointed outward. So we can add these 3 magnetic field to find the net magnetic field applied at point C. So as in electrostatic, we study Gauss theorem of electrostatic, which is an alternate form of Coulomb's law to find the electric field in different objects. Similarly, Biot-Savart's law is not that useful to find the magnetic field in different objects. So we can use an alternating form of Biot-Savart's law, that is Ampere's circuital law. So if we talk about the statement of Ampere's circuital law, it states that the line integral of magnetic field around any circuital loop is mu naught times the current passing through that circuit. So the line integral of magnetic field is mu naught times the current enclosed or passing through that circuital loop, where mu naught is the permittivity of free space. One more thing you have to remember: to apply Gauss theorem, we have to assume a Gaussian surface, which is an imaginary surface used to apply Gauss law. Similarly, to apply Ampere's circuital law, we can assume an Amperean loop, which is an imaginary loop around the current carrying wire. So to illustrate the application of Ampere's circuital law, we assume an infinite wire having a steady current I, and then there is a point P at a distance r. on which we have to find the magnetic field due to this wire. So we assume an Ampere loop of radius r and apply Ampere's circular law on that, which is B dot dl is equal to mu naught I. Now magnetic field and displacement vector both are in same direction, then we have B dl is equal to mu naught I. Then B, which we have to find, is the integration limit 0 to 2 pi r is equal to mu naught I. So B L limit 0 to 2 pi r is equal to mu naught I. By putting the value of limits, we get B into 2 pi r minus 0 is equal to mu naught I. Then the magnetic field at point P due to infinitely long wire is mu naught I by 2 pi r, which is the exact value we obtain by using Biot-Savart's law. But Ampere law make it way easy to find the magnetic field. Now let's find the magnetic field due to a current carrying solenoid by using Ampere's circular law. As we know, solenoid is a coil of insulated copper wire having large number of turns, and it has a certain property that the magnetic field inside the solenoid is uniform and the magnetic field outside the solenoid is zero. So to find the magnetic field at the inside point of the solenoid, let's assume a rectangular Amperian loop to find the magnetic field and name this loop A, B, C, D. So I is the steady current flowing through each loop, and we made an Amperian loop A, B, C, D, for which we have to apply Ampere law. Then according to Ampere law, the line integral of magnetic field is equal to mu naught times the current passing through the loop. Then this B dot dl is obtained for 4 different segments, that is B dot dl obtained from A to B plus B dot dl can obtain from B to C plus B dot dl can obtain from C to D, and B dot dl can be obtained from D to A. So we find B dot dl for all the 4 assumed segments. Then if we focus on the diagram, then the magnetic field and the segment A, B and C, D is perpendicular to magnetic field. So B dot dl for A to B and B dot dl for C to D is 0, because for them theta is equal to 90 and B dot dl provide B dl cos theta and cos 90 is 0. Then the another term B dot dl from B to C is also 0, because outside the solenoid magnetic field is 0. So now we get B dot dl only for D to A segment, which is B dl cos 0 degree, because the angle between the segment and the magnetic field is 0. So B dot dl for the complete Ampere loop is B integration dl for the segment dA, and if we assume the length of that segment is L, then B dot dl is equal to BL. Now from Ampere law we know that B dot dl can be replaced by mu naught I. So B into L is mu naught I and B is equal to mu naught I by L. So this is the magnetic field due to a loop inside a solenoid. But we know there are large number of turns, so for the n loop the total current can be given as mu naught Ni by L. So for the n number of loop, the magnetic field due to solenoid inside is mu naught Ni by L, and we can also replace N by L in terms of number of turns per unit length. Then B is equal to mu naught small n I. So the magnetic field due to a solenoid is act inside the solenoid, and it depend on the amount of current, the total number of turns, and the length of solenoid. It also depend inside the core material, because if the medium inside the core is changed, the magnetic field is also changed, which we already know that electromagnet is formed by placing a piece of soft iron inside a solenoid, which can increase the magnetic field of a solenoid. As we obtain the magnetic field for a solenoid, we can also obtain magnetic field for a toroid. Toroid is basically a circular solenoid without any endpoint. The only difference is that in toroid, the length is replaced by the circumference of toroid, and we get B is equal to mu naught Ni upon 2 pi r. I hope these topics are clear to you. For more study material, you can also visit our website newerasolution.in. Till then, subscribe the channel, share it with your friend, and study hard.